Hey mate, when I first moved from the UK to Australia, I thought I was prepared. But the truth is, I made some pretty big mistakes. Some cost me money, some cost me time, and some nearly ruined the whole experience. If you're thinking about making the move yourself, I want to share some of my biggest mistakes so that you don't make them. I moved to the Gold Coast with my fiance, chasing a lifestyle that we just couldn't get in the UK. And don't get me wrong, it was the best decision that I've ever made. But there's a few things that I wish I had done differently. Looking back now, these are the mistakes that shaped the whole journey. The first mistake that I made was rushing into choosing where to live. We arrived, we jumped in the rental, not understanding the different character of all the different suburbs that we could have lived in. And truthfully, I don't think you can really know until you've actually lived here for a good amount of time. And they all do vary quite a lot. We ended up in bigger waters. I am absolutely happy that we live in this spot specifically. It's perfect for work. It's perfect for being slightly outside of the really busy city area, but close enough that we can get to the beach pretty quickly. Looking back now, it would have been nice to visit and do a little bit more research around what each suburb entails. Being here for nearly 8 months now, I have a better understanding of what all the suburbs are like, and I think I probably would have picked somewhere more south end of the Gold Coast, closer to New South Wales, and that is really simply just for the surf, because all of the good surfing point breaks are down the south of the Gold Coast. So I think if we were to live here, and it's something that we've been thinking about recently, I probably would want to go down to like Coolangatta or maybe even like Currumbin or Tugun. However, it is very close to neighbouring suburbs that can be quite busy. So something I would advise is do a little more research than we did into what suburb you'd want to move into, and if you are from Australia, or even better, the Gold Coast, then let me know what the suburb is that you live in and let me know what it's like. It might help some people out that are considering moving or that already live here. For example, you've got Palm Beach, super laid back, a little bit busy, but right by the beach, and it's really nice. Burleigh, again, can be laid back, but it depends on where you live in Burleigh. There's Burleigh Waters and Burleigh Heads. Burleigh Heads is super busy. I think Instagram vibe. Burleigh Waters maybe a little bit quieter. As I already mentioned, Currumbin and Tugun, locals, families, it's quite a nice area to live in. There's not a whole lot going on, but it feels quite friendly. Bigger waters, Runaway Bay, Hope Island, affordable, different pace, enough out of the city but close enough. Of course, you've got rental prices varying massively between suburbs. I've got a friend that lives in Burleigh. He pays around $1,000 a week for rent for a 2-bedroom apartment. We pay $650 a week in rent for a 2-bedroom apartment, and you've got everything in between. My biggest tip for this would be if you are moving here, even if you're moving from somewhere else in Australia or New Zealand, or even the UK, I would get an Airbnb. We got an Airbnb for a month. In hindsight, maybe we would have got an Airbnb for a little bit longer because it would have given us a little bit more of an understanding of what each suburb entails. My second mistake was believing that moving abroad would instantly make me happier. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't miserable in the UK. I'm quite a positive person. I like to think I'm quite happy most of the time, but the lifestyle itself was a burden. Australia fixed that, Gold Coast specifically. That being said, if you've got personal struggles, if you've got relationship problems, if you've got issues with your health, then I guarantee moving will not solve them problems. Something I've learned, especially sort of over the last 2 years or so, is that mindset and stability isn't just a postcode. You've really got to understand what makes you truly happy, fix the problems with your health, fix the problems with your relationships before you think about doing such a big move. What I'm saying is the best time to move is when you're emotionally, mentally, and physically stable. You really want to embrace the move. The mistake was believing that geography could change my life. It absolutely can transform your lifestyle, but it doesn't solve the things that you need to work on inside yourself. The third mistake that I made, and I'm not sure if this was a mistake, was feeling that I would be right at home straight away because everyone speaks English. It's a very similar culture with regards to it being Western to the UK. So I thought, oh, we'll move and we'll feel at home straight away. That wasn't the case. I want to map out my last 8 months just so that you can understand the journey that we've been through emotionally when it comes to moving and feeling at home and all the change. 1 week before leaving the UK for Australia was the hardest week emotionally that I've had to deal with in a long time. I'm very close to my family. My brother's my best friend. I'm not exaggerating when I say the last week of us being in the UK was pure emotional pain. Then we moved, and the first 4 weeks was sunshine and excitement. It was all new. Think of it like a honeymoon period. There was a little bit of stress of finding somewhere to live, but we knew that we had a month of an Airbnb, so we were kind of sorted on that front. And we got engaged as well, so it was all of this big bubble that we were in. We weren't working, we were in a really nice new country. It was hot because it was the middle of summer. It was fantastic. Pushing on a little further, we started work, we found a rental, we had bills to pay. So between the months 2 and 4, it was like a slap in the face with reality. It was like I'd lost balance in my life. I was working this new job, trying to learn how to do that. I was living in this new place, trying to learn how to navigate the Gold Coast. And trust me when I say months 2 to 4, it was very important that we were stable before we moved, because it was quite stressful and there was a lot of new things to learn. Fast forward a little further, we've been working for 3 to 6 months. We started forming balance again. We started getting into routines, we joined the gym, we started feeling a little bit more healthy, and we started getting used to the suburbs and where we'd like to go and different beaches, and we started finding our spots that we enjoyed. This mental space also came with space to start missing family. Months 3 to 6 were quite tough. I missed my mum and my dad, I missed my brother, and I missed all my friends that I used to spend time with back home. If you're around this time, if you've moved and you're watching this video and you're around that 3 to 6 months, just trust me, it's normal. We're coming up on 8 months now, and I can honestly say the Gold Coast is really starting to feel like home. I still miss family, but it's not as painful. We get to talk quite often, and I'm actually going home in October for 2 weeks, which is so exciting. If you have moved here, or if you moved here years ago, please share some stories about when you moved. I know there's lots of Aussies that watch these videos, which is fantastic because you can actually really give clarity to people that consider moving. But just know that it's not failure if it takes a few months to settle in. I suppose the mistake was underestimating how long it would actually take for me to settle in. So if you're moving, give yourself patience. It'll come. I think the next mistake that I made was focusing quite heavily on big ticket items and not considering the costs of all the small things. When we move in, you've got things like visas, flights, rental bonds. I had to transfer my registration, which cost money, private healthcare, and all of the other big costs that comes with moving. That being said, we have been pleasantly surprised with how much bills cost here. Although I think a few other Aussies that I've spoke to have said, things are ramping up quite quickly, but they're still significantly cheaper than back home. Groceries are about the same price, which we were pleasantly surprised about. Fuel is about half the price. When we left the UK, it was around £2 a litre for fuel. Over here, it's about $2 a litre, which when you convert it, it's roughly half the price. So I would say on the bright side, nothing has massively surprised us of how expensive it is. I have already done a video on how much it costs us to live here, so if you're actually interested in the finer details of what our monthly expenses are living in Australia, particularly the Gold Coast, then you can go and watch that video up there. And finally, the mistake that surprised me the most was underestimating just how friendly and welcoming Australians have been. It's never easy moving to a different country that's not yours. My goal living here is to provide as much value, as much support as a physiotherapist to the people of Queensland and the people of Australia. For the most part, great, but there is a little bit of animosity in a few people that I've spoke to just about internationals moving into the country, which is understandable. It's a beautiful country, and if I was born and raised here, I want to keep it all to myself. And maybe I'm being a bit selfish moving to a different country, but I'm confident that I can provide support and value to all of the Australians through being a physio. And it's been received really well by Australians. I was very pleasantly surprised of how friendly the locals have been. My colleagues have been great and have gone above and beyond to help us move here and make it easier. It's little things like when we get in the elevator to go down from our apartment, everyone always wants to spark a conversation with us. The Australians watching these videos for the most part have been absolutely amazing, just welcoming us to this beautiful country and sharing the excitement with us. A huge thing that I've noticed is a lot of the Aussies have British culture, British background, their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents are British or Irish. I feel like it really gives us that connection from the get-go. So one thing I would say to the Brits watching this video, if you are thinking of moving to Australia, be respectful. Make sure you're bringing value to the country. If you've got a job where you can help other Australians, then I'm sure the Aussies will appreciate it. Truth is, I was expecting it to be way harder. Aussie spirit made it so much easier, and I'm very grateful for that. These mistakes taught me so much, and while they did cost me time and some money and a few headaches, moving to Australia has been the best decision I've ever made. If you're thinking about making the move, then learn from my mistakes so that you don't make the same ones. And if you're an Aussie watching this, then thank you. You've made this place feel like home. If you want more videos like this, or you just want to stick around for the journey, then subscribe. But for now, my name's Dan, I'm a creator, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.